Morning. Okay, where do we start?
Well, we all saw the video of, you finding out that Jordan's back. Just talk about what he means to the room.
First of all, that should have been confidential. Coach Bowles got me on that. Well, I mean, you saw it all in the video. He's a good football player. He was good when he was here. He was good up in New York. And I would think he'd be a good football player down here. And he's everything that you want in a football player. He loves football. He loves contact. He enjoys practicing. So, my emotions got the best of me, but when you get somebody like that back in the fold, it's pretty nice.
What do you think he's improved since he left and came back?
Where do I think he improved? I think he improved like all young guys do. He left here at 24, I believe, because he came out a year early. And all those guys are coming into their sweet spot. He's 25, going to be 26. Winfield's in the same picture. And where they improve is they improve mentally. That's the biggest thing, because everything slows down for them. And, that's about as honest as answer I can give. He's going to give you everything he has. Every player's a certain type of player. Jordan loves contact. He actually increased his range. We didn't play him deep, and the Jets played him deep, and you can see the twitch that he has. So probably the biggest thing was he increased his range, but it's just a maturity. He has seen a lot, and he's confident in what he can do.
What do you like about Tykee Smith, the rookie?
Tykee Smith is probably what Coach Bowles always wants to get in a safety, and meaning, we'd like him taller if we can, but he's 4'6", and we cross-train so much because during the season, if somebody breaks a fingernail, so he will come in as a safety and a nickel. Almost, it could be nickel, safety, nickel. We'll see how the progress goes. But he gives you 205-pound frame. He's productive. He's physical. He can run. He's used to winning.
Yeah.
It's important.
Speaking of production, have you ever seen a defensive back fill out the stat sheet like Antoine Winfield Jr. did for you guys last year? And what can he do for an encore?
Well, first of all, Mr. Winfield can probably keep making progress. I keep saying this every year, and he gets mad at me. But because he does everything you can possibly think of. And I said, we got to get to a point where we're getting 7, 8 interceptions a game. Now, he gets 7, 8 a game, and he continues with everything else. Wow. But he's a complete player. I mean, everybody knows that. And he's a better person than he is player. He's a true pro's pro. And he's working out. He'll come in here, and he'll be ready to go. And, sometimes you pinch yourself when you coach guys like him.
What's his reaction when you tell him get 7 or 8?
He smiles. He says, I'm trying. I said, just keep. He actually could have had 6. There were against the Colts. He had it, and it was pulled out. He had 1, and they called a penalty. He could have had 5 or 6 because, unfortunately, at the end of the day, everybody looks at a DB, and the first thing they look at is what? Interceptions. But his game is so complete. It's, he's a good player, and what's really nice is he's just going to start to hit that sweet spot.
The way he doesn't give up on a play, is that contagious? You see it in practice. We don't see practice. They say he does it out there.
He does it in practice. He finishes every single play. That's why it's no surprise he made those 2 plays, where against Atlanta he knocked the ball out, and against Carolina, because he does it in practice every single time.
What did you guys see out of Kayvon Merriweather? Obviously, had to start 2 games. Merriweather. What did you see out of him going throughout the season? Coming as an undrafted free agent, we know those Iowa safeties are always pretty smart.
Merriweather played, I think, 117 snaps of actual football, and he played special teams. We're looking for him to take a nice jump this spring, and then a real nice jump in the fall, because we're cross-training him. So we're playing him at strong, and we're playing him at free. So, yes, we would like him to take that next jump. He's about 208 pounds, typical Iowa safety, does everything you ask of him, and plays hard, but we need to keep seeing the progress, because if you look at the safety room right now, you have 2 guys that have played and, have played well with Jordan and Winfield. So we need to find 2 more that, like in that Super Bowl year, we had Mike Edwards at 3 and we had Andrew Adams at 4. And if you remember the Green Bay game, that's the 2 safeties that finished the second half after Jordan, through. So 3 and 4 are important. So we're looking for Merriweather. And then what Todd also wants to do is we're giving Christian, he's playing nickel, but we're cross-training him at free safety. He has a year under his belt at nickel, so Todd wants to see what this spring he can comprehend at free safety, because what's so important is once you get into the season and one of these guys breaks a fingernail, you got to have a next guy coming up. So, yeah, I never say injury, break a fingernail. So Izzy is going to play free safety and nickel, and Tykee will play strong safety and nickel.
How does Antoine and Jordan complement each other as a duo at safety in the back end?
Well, first of all, they like each other. And you may not think that's important, but neither one has an ego. That's what's important. And the first person that called Jordan was Antoine. And they talked, so, how do they complement each other? They're both under 5'10". They both love to play the game. See, those 2 guys, they will defend every blade of grass. And they play the game because they actually like the game. That's where they're the same guys. Now they have different skill sets, and everybody does. But, they played a couple years here together, and we did pretty darn well, so.
Speaking of cross-training, Zyon McCollum actually lined up at safety a little bit this past year.
Yes.
I know he's gunning for one of those starting cornerback, outside cornerback
Yes.
jobs. Just what do you like about him, and kind of what's the next step in terms of?
Well, he's going to play corner. He's, from what I understand, he's going to play corner. He's going to stay outside. What you like about him from a physical makeup, he gives you the height, he gives you the length, he gives you the speed. Unbelievable athlete. Now what he needs to do, he actually played more reps than the other 2 corners last year. But then as we worked toward the season, we had to play him at nickel for reasons, but we had to play him at nickel. So we're hoping that if he stays at corner and he gets glued in at corner, he'll be fine. But right now, he's just going to play corner. Now, during the season, you know what Coach Bowles, he dials up and he puts the best people in the best position. But right now, he'll stay at corner.
What does that say about him, the fact that he was able to jump in there and play a variety? I mean, I know that you got to take your opportunities where they come, but just for him, for you guys to kind of be able to get all those guys on the field at the same time by using him as a safety.
Well, it speaks volumes about him because, first of all, he must be a responsible young man to be able to go in and learn all. He played safety, he played nickel, he played corner for us.
Coach, you talked about finding that 4th guy, right, in the safety room?
Well, we're trying to find 3 and 4. We're
Right.
trying to find 3 and 4.
So you brought in 2 undrafted free agents, Wisdom, the kid out of UTSA, and Banks, the guy out of Mississippi State. What did you like about those guys?
I thought in college they played well, they played hard, and they were somewhat productive. I really can't give you any more than that. I mean, I watched him. I said, yeah, I'd like to coach these kids and take a shot and go from there. But they were productive. They seemed to be able to run, hit. In our scheme, you have to be able to process. That's one of the most important things you have to do, because Coach Bowles puts a lot on those guys. So you got to be able to process.
Nick, how much did you miss Jordan's physicality? What he brings, and you talked about, yeah, his ball skills.
I think the whole team missed Jordan's physicality. I think the whole team did. I mean, it's just like a heavyweight boxer. If you have a puncher, he punches.
Yeah.
And the opponent knows
Exactly.
that he's a puncher. So
It's not easy to do in today's NFL.
you can't lose that type of physicality.
It's not easy to do in today's NFL with.
No, it
so much of
isn't.
The changing landscape of the rules, and it's, a lot of folks have wondered, can you really invoke, I guess, that fear in the offense when you can't do some of the things you used to be able to do as a defense?
Well, you have to be smarter. But see, Jordan loves contact. A lot of guys like to make the tackle and get the guy down. He loves contact. And, just like when we played Green Bay, what he did, he's gonna bring it. And that does get contagious, but that's who he is. That's who Jordan is. Jordan's a physical safety wrapped up in a 194-pound body.
Nick, you love interceptions. You guys didn't get enough last year. What's the number in your head that you want to see the secondary and then the team get overall to get to your standard?
I don't know if I have a number, but I always tell the guy, let's be in the upper echelon of interceptions. Because this is my 45th year. I also know sometimes it just doesn't happen. But let's be in position, and because it's such a valuable turnover. The funny thing is we always start out fast and then through the season. So as a coach, you got to look back. You got to say, okay, let me try this, let me try that. So, by getting more interceptions, well, all I'm saying is let's get more turnovers. That's all. Let's just get more turnovers.
Anything else?
I was gonna, for a coach that's been around this game for a long time, the commissioner this past week said that he wants to see the NFL go to an 18 regular game schedule. What's your feeling on that?
Oh, I mean, that's above my pay grade. All I can say is you play in the National Football League, it takes its toll on you. Now, if they think it's better to go to 18-2, then because that's a whole different world that you're talking about now. 17-3, the extra game matters. The extra game matters because, see, preseason, those kids are only going to play 18, 20, 24 snaps. Now you add a whole nother game to it. But, that's the higher-ups, and that's their decision. If you coach, you coach.
At the same time, they're talking about an extra bye week. That almost has to be a necessity, right, when you're talking about.
I would think that
players.
would help the players, yeah. Because most people don't understand. Once you get to the game, everybody plays except the backup quarterback. So everybody's playing. It's different. College, you got 85 kids. It does take its toll, but, they're professionals. They understand it.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, Coach. Good seeing you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.